and welcome to the second edition of the Mandatory Cup, which is a part of the Ignition series. Today and this weekend, we're going to have a huge tournament that is going to be filled with crazy, crazy happenings. So today, don't forget, we've got 128 teams that are going to be fighting in best of ones, which is also in a single elimination bracket. So it's going to be no mistakes allowed. There's obviously overtime enabled during the whole tournament. So remember, today we've got rounds of 128, we've got rounds of 64, of 32, and rounds of 16. Tomorrow, from 3, we're going to have the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and it's going to be fight in a best of 3. All right. Sunday is going to be the huge day. It's the day you're going to all be waiting for. We have the grand finals at 7 p.m. So don't forget anything. All right. Now get ready, because we've got a set of casters from all around the world. The English-speaking casters are going to be HYPERX, Pansy, and Demon, and you're going to have them in about 2 minutes. Also, if you're interested in checking the French-speaking channel, we're going to have Luti and Kipper1, also joined later on the weekend by Zerator. We also have partner streams that are going to be Russian-speaking, Polish-speaking, and German-speaking, and you're going to find on the website, mandatory.gg, loads of POV from players that are going to be streaming as well this weekend. So now, without further ado, we're going to have the first game of the evening that is going to be starting really soon. It's going to be Vodafone Giants versus Citron Chien, and it's going to be cast by Demon and Pansy. So have a great weekend, everyone. Let's have a good competition and see you later on.
Thank you very much. Yes, hello. Here we are. It is the start of a long weekend for Valorant and the European teams, and see whether anyone can rise to the top, Lauren, and beat G2.
Well, it's a big task to set into. You know what? I'll start off in the group stage for just looking at the EU meta. I want to see what's been happening, how it's looking. I think G2 is the final boss, right? That's like so far down the line in my mind. I'm not even going to consider it, let alone your fish 1, 2, 3. I'm not even there yet. I just want to see where we're at in the overall grand scheme of things, because, well, you know what? Best of ones can be deadly. It shows you've got to have that full map pool, being comfortable. There's a lot to be seen here, D-Man.
Yeah, it's interesting, obviously, reading the interviews that they've done on the Mandatory GG website, and it's talking to the NIP player, Hip, and he was basically talking about the fact that, look, let's face it, this is best of one. Like, we have so many best of ones before, and anyone could trip up. If you don't know about a team, and there's a lot of good teams out there, I think, that have been plugging away throughout the plethora of tournaments that happen every single week. So there's definitely a chance to trip people up. If they're not careful, a one-trick pony on whatever map. Bear in mind, these are set maps. The first four rounds, the 128 through to all today, are set maps. So if you're bad on a map, if there's a map you're particularly not good on or particularly amazing on, you may actually catch one of these big teams out.
Oh, 100%. And let's not even then kind of go down the road of one individual having a nutty game.
Yeah.
Let's say they get a comfy map. It's a middling map pick for them, but it's the same for the opponents. And they have that jet that just gets that hot hand. The economy rolls in their favor. You can have a pop-off game. Best of ones are super deadly. It's going to be that matter of consistency that I'm looking at. But beyond that, it's who else is in that EU scene. We know who's at the top. We talk about them all the time. I want to see the grand scheme of things here, Lee.
Yeah, so the Vodafone Giants, obviously the Spanish team coming up against Citron Chien, the Lemon Dog, as I figured this out before. They played, I last saw them in the Rise of the Titans semi-final, I want to say, against Fabricant. I think they lost 2-1 overall, but had a really good showing on Bind, on Split, and I think it was Haven was the final map, yeah, because Ascent wasn't actually active back then. So certainly a team that can actually put up a good performance. I want to see how they're going to do it. Of course, they're coming up against the Spanish boys, the Giants.
Yeah, and the Giants, I mean, if you keep in touch with a lot of Counter-Strike, or at least previous to now, you'd probably know a couple of the names. Some might even recognize Fit from playing with Mixwell in a couple of, like, the early tournaments in Valorant when you had those mixes coming in, kind of your Twitch rivals. And honestly, Fit was a bit of a beast too. I mean, he was playing there. Who was in that roster? I'm trying to roll my mind back. That was the David P, Kriya, and Orb. Not a bad team. Obviously, Kriya, arguably one of the best omens in Europe in there as well. Certainly helps matter. But I'd love to see what the Spanish team can do now as, you know, a collective 5, see how they look, see what they can bring. We haven't seen too much of this roster as a full locked-in team yet, to my knowledge. So again, to me, it's like, I saw the announcement. That's exciting. Let's see how they do now. We get to see them kind of in our own perspective here.
Yeah, and for Citron and Chien, it is either a slightly different lineup or a changed lineup, because I'm seeing players, I know IDEX I definitely recognize in there, but it used to be Titus and Mikey in there who did very well back then, and I didn't see them in the lineup there. So we will see. But as you say, there's going to be starting things off. We are on bind for the first map. It's going to be bind into split for the round of 64, into Haven, and then I believe Ascent is the final one today. So, well, bind, everybody plays bind, right? Everybody's an expert on bind. It's probably the most common alongside Haven map when the vetoes happen these days in all the tournaments. So it's something that everybody kind of has a default on. My worry is, I want to start seeing changes. Like, I'm sick of seeing the default on A these days. It's like, oh, we're going to put a wall down here, we're going to block off here, we're going to get lamp room covered off, and then sure as hell, in comes the mollies and the paint shells and the shock darts, everything onto the site. It's kind of like a rinse repeat. I want to see something different.
Well, you say that, and I think you're bang on, but the one thing that stood out to me, I saw at least in NA, which is the last maybe 2 tournaments I cast recently, was that those hits, they're still prevalent, right? You're not going to get away from them because they seem to work. You get the spike down. But the amount of 5v5 retakes we're now seeing is pretty huge. It's a lot of them. When teams get good at that, I look at Gen G when they played the Sentinels, for example, on Bind. Gen G lost the series, but my God, did they look great on Bind with those perfectly done retakes. Then you can progress forward if you want to look further into the meta as to, okay, well, now how do they deal with those retakes? And they had Sinatra popping off individually on those Phoenix plays, getting very aggressive towards the defensive side spawn, taking that map territory. I think I want to see teams being aware of, okay, well, what's the next step to this? You know, we all know those plants come in, we all know they happen. Okay, how do we then take that next step to ensure we get the round off the back of it on both sides? The big thing for me as well is defensive-sided aggression. I'm really excited to see those oppers getting aggressive, getting in people's faces. Obviously, in Europe, you have some of the best out here, right? You get Mixwell and Ardis, in my opinion, the two who personify each of the styles. One a bit more passive, a little bit more site-based, a little bit more different, and then Ardis, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more in your face. But again, they're the further boss, but they certainly personify those skills there.
Yeah, so I just wanted to see, and then obviously you go over to the B site, and it's kind of, I would say that's more the Wild West, the B site, because there's a lot of opportunities to catch teams by surprise. Obviously, I'm not talking about defensive positions. Everybody knows the defensive positions. I'm talking about attacks. I'm talking about that's where I feel we can get a lot more improvements in set play, because I feel like A's kind of like everybody's kind of settled on the A push. On the B side, obviously, you either go through window, calling it window, not hookah, window. We're in Europe now. I'm being old man Smith, but yeah, either that or coming through long. And obviously, we've seen the problem is with B, and it's something that I've started to see more and more and more and more and more. The long pushes, I'm starting to see a lot of breach flashes, or maybe even you could use it with Omen Paranoid, but mainly breach flashes, poke out, down long, and they're just losing like 2-3 people in it. So it's basically, it's your classic Counter-Strike flash, pop flash around the corner, right? That's basically what it is. And people are starting to actually trigger onto those proper set plays.
For sure. I think people are learning, they're adapting, they're getting better at it, and then you're going to see further than that the counters to it. So I want to see where these teams are at, because I think to our minds we instantly go to the big games that we've seen, you know, your NA finals or your, you know, Fish 1-2-3s, your G2s, whomever, and they play it exceedingly well. They're very well, you know, refined, but it looks like we are into games, so we can jump right into this and see if any of those things we were looking for actually comes true here.
Yeah, of course, starting things off, it is going to be the Vodafone Giants on the attack, and it will be Citron Chien on defense. I know that because I saw IDEX on the defense, and it is going to be a standard set play pistol round, of course. There's going to be a battle for lamps. That's generally where a lot of it happens. Gat's going to get a little peek around the side. Paint shells coming in, don't really catch too much. Looking over towards the left-hand side, but it does mean that it's going to have to go. And this is what you were talking about, right, Lauren? You've got to go passive here. You need to back away. Okay, they've got sight. Don't go too aggressive, but they've gone for it without the rest of the team joining them. Now the wraparound comes, but they've already lost the rest.
I love that push from Fit. I talk about, so there was the steps in my mind is that it was a 5v5 post-plant scenario then. So for the defensive team, they were kind of like posed and kind of poised to do pretty well on that retake. But I love that play for the Vodafone Giants in some way, shape or form, is the way that they pushed then. They actually managed to kind of get in towards Lamps or U-Haul, whatever people like to call it there. There's a couple of, variations. But they took some territory on that. So it really wasn't a bad plan at all. And am I mistaken in thinking the UI's a little backwards here?
It is, yes.
Yeah, okay. My brain for a second was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But no, I like that. I like the late U-Haul crunch that the offensive team went for in the end. I think that was a really nice piece.
Obviously, now the Spectres, hopefully we'll get to look at the tabs, etc. to see. I mean, there wasn't very many kills, so it's definitely going to be a simple save for most of them. I wanted to see whether anyone was saving for perhaps a op in the third round, but at the moment it is going to be standard. It is. Okay, Don Q's saved. So it looks like Don Q is going to be the man as he lands an absolute killer of a ghost headshot.
It's getting a bit worrying here because that raise is a little isolated, right? You got to look at it this way. If you're the team on the defensive side, you're just trying to get guns away, do a bit of damage, try and build up your own economy. And right now, they're a little bit of a hunting pack. And if they isolate players, there's threats, and they're doing the economy damage you want to be looking at. That's really well done to them. They've kind of hit their markers. The round's probably not going to be theirs. That was a little crisp. God damn. The round does go the way it technically should with the better weapons. Doing well there, getting the spike down for Vodafone Giants, which of course, again, just to remind you guys at home, a little backwards on the UI. Hopefully that gets switched for us. It was well done. But the kind of small bonus here is, of course, the economy now is going to be a little bit more muted for the Vodafone Giants going forward. And we're going to see, obviously, in the third round, traditionally, whoever wins the first two on the third round coming in, the bye favors the team that loses those first two, unless something crazy happens. So we will be up, on the Phantoms, up against Bulldogs. So this could be a hard round for them to best.
Well, that's it. They don't have the bonus money carried through like you normally get of romping through. So they had to force and get what they can. Economy is lacking. I think I can see a Bulldog down there on the Sage, just below. Don't have the name tags up at the moment, so couldn't tell you exactly who it is. Stonk, though, pushing forward with the Omen. Looking at the minimap, it's a default strat. Everybody's set up. You got one over bathroom, one on A short, one looking at window, just having a little peek in there. And of course, the spike looks like it's going to be making its way over. It looks like it's going to be a fake and wrap around over to A site.
They haven't pulled any rotations from the defensive team, but they're trying to work away some of that utility, ideally. And that's a start. That's a start and a half. That removes one of the big elements away from the site itself. There are still two dedicated to that. Sova has to find a bit of work here, and well, IDEX is going to do just that. A 1-for-1 trade maybe not quite good enough because it hasn't bought time on those rotations here.
Looking to see if they're going to burst through. Here's the set play that I was talking about. You can see on the minimap the wall is down. There we go. Plant comes in. Standard Sage setup. Doesn't look like there's any answer just yet. They're slowly wrapping around, but it's going to be two coming from spawn, one up in heaven. A pretty standard retake. They do, of course, all have the weapons, so it's going to be a push in Lamps. This is the battle they need. And it's actually Reese that put himself the dark cover down to try and give himself that little advantage pushing in, but it's going to be shock darts to the face the second they peek. And the second he shows, he gets himself two down, so Reese and Wallax go down. Don Q's doing some work here.
Yeah, really beautifully done. I was actually quite impressed by the raise on Citron's side, just purely because they bought a bit of time spamming those grenades, the satchels, trying to stop that plant, give a couple of seconds for the team to come over, but wasn't enough time, and a very well-executed site hit, considering normally we see this round swing the other way. It's normally a 2-1 scoreline if you go by short, just purely the economy element of it. But no, these guys played it very well handled. Citron does need to get a grip on things now. I feel like they haven't been able to garner much information. They've been a little bit stumped as to find out where these hits are coming in. That default's definitely going to make it trickier, but I'd love to see a dash of that defensive-sided aggression here, Lee. That would make me so happy. Yes, it can be risky. Of course, you're going to throw yourself into a potential early fight, but seeing Raze and Sage pushed up this close, that could be a nice bit of grenade spam coming down. It could work pretty well, looking at where this offensive side currently is.
Well, as it stands, I was just wondering, they are going to go aggressive, on A by looks of it, so they are going to get a peek. Unfortunately, they're looking straight into a 4-stack, and that's just about the worst you could hope for. It was just hoping for something. The operator play, leaving the Rays on alone. But look at the wraparound coming around the back. The Sova making its way, but IDEX gets caught out. Jomba not having anything. So the Vodafone Giants, and they look on the Valorant Giants, but they kind of are. They kind of are right now. Are looking like they're dominating this one early on. And bearing in mind, I would say this is probably as even a map as you can get. So the fact they haven't been able to pick up one of these rifle rounds yet is starting to be worrisome.
It's a little worry. We're going to see how much that worry grows. We'll play it by ear. But I like the idea from the defensive side. Maybe a player error there, just cost them that early pick, unable to back away. They did get their Raze out in time, who is still with the op. They're in the right site for this. It's a 3v kind of 5 hold. It's not going to be easy, but it could be possible. But look at the weaponry. It's far from ideal, but those sheriffs, they found a couple of people to claim. But by this point, it doesn't really matter. It's as said, not a bad read. The good rotations, the ops not looking too bad, but we need a bit more. It feels a little too late in the day. The overall approach to the site seems really good from the Vodafone Giants. I think this is credit to them. They've got some really nice set plays. Their economy is getting quite flush, whereas this buy again, it's not bad. It's a good enough purchase from Citron, but it's not going to be great down the line. They could really be ripped away from the money here, and you need that utility on those defensive sides.
Well, I'm just wondering, is it going to be a B hit yet? It's been an A hit, 4 rounds running. And it does look like they may well come through, although I don't know whether you can call it a hit there. It was just a simple execution. Gats, yeah, starting things off. That was a quick bathroom peek there. Does manage to net himself a result. It was a default set, and it is looking like a B play, so it will be a 2-on-4, knowing damn well there's been aggression there, but a quick Sova shock dart coming out does give them pause for thought. As looks like Don Q's looking to set the paranoia off and start things running.
First time we're going to see what the Vodafone Giants do now at the player deficit going into the site hit. This could be a much more interesting component, but the rotations have come in. They have the 3 players on the correct site for the defensive team, so now it's going to be a bit trickier for that attacking side. They're not being subtle, and here comes that util, but this time they're ready. They seem aware, and one by one, the attacking side funnels in, and one by one, they're going to fall on this one. IDEX with a really nice hold there. Just watching the push out, the trades in, but it seems individual here, Lee.
Dark Cover's doing some serious work here. The Smokes stopping the 2 Omen players. Tries to shroud his step across. Manages to actually catch Reese off guard. He was looking for the Omen, but instead, they're still wanting the Tunican. Revolve managed to get the peek around the side. It's a straight up 1-on-1 right now. It's going to get the peek around. Anybody else going to join them? The Razor's finally coming to rotate. He's so low. What was the Raze thinking? Like, what's he doing? Gats, get your ass on B site like an hour ago. He's finally rotated around. I guess he was expecting maybe a teleport to the showstopper.
Time.
Just got to hold it up. Doesn't matter. He misses the shot. Okay, he's got no time to plan. He has. He started on 4 seconds. He's going to get the shot. Comes in. And, well, the showstopper came through, but it doesn't matter. It's Giants who'll pick up the round.
Fit. The absolute... the guts to do that, right? Did have time on the plant, comes off it, expects the push, catches it, lands like a banger of a shot. My. I like seeing that. So Fit was one of those players, again, that played with Mixwell in the early days. He was playing in those kind of like very puggy matches we saw very early on in Valorant's lifespan, and he certainly stood out then, so it's good to see a bit of that translating here. Now, a bit of a different look for the defensive team. 3 play stack towards window, hookah room, whatever you like to call it. That Raze might be outdone here, but it is Fit. Let's see if they get caught off.
Oh my god, 15 years absolutely smashed them. A triple down long. Just gunned them down. Actually, tell a lie, that was a push out of window.
I know exactly where
they tried to go great. You called for it, Lauren. You called for that aggression. They tried it. It kind of backfired on them.
Look, the theory's right. The execution was the issue. Again, this game is not notoriously synonymous with having the ability to hit like multi-kills easily. You've got to be able to trade kills. How did it happen? I'm a little... I mean, honestly, Fit is a really good player, and I'm glad to see him doing well. If you're going to pick Raze, you've got to be one of those flashy players, a bit of a fragger. You know, it's kind of like that Jet style, that kind of Tens-esque player, right, that can hold their own and just pop off. But Didn't expect the casual 3K on the push out towards B mid, but here we are. And this looks like it's a bit of a blowout so far, if I'm honest. The economy for the Vodafone Giants is going to be super stable, super comfy, and the opponents, I like some of the win conditions that I'd love to see from them, things that looked good for a little bit, while obviously they're just saving here at the end. I like that aggression towards Shower, that double peek. But the fact you have to commit 2 players to it kind of negates that quick rotation presence. Those rotations, they ain't spicy. They're not quick. We've seen a couple of times players being caught out here and there, excuse me. But they're back on the good purchase here. So this has to be it. Otherwise, the scoreline, it's MR12, Lee. It's not first to 16. It's 13. It's quick. You don't get all these rounds to come back into it. So when you get a full buy like this, you got to make use of it. So let's see if that op can come through. Let's see if they find a way to hold back. This is actually very comprehensive attacking side.
So they've had a bit of a change in defensive. They decided the Raze has finally gone over to the B site. So that's where the operator is. So they're actually in the right place at the right time this time. So switching across, the Cypher obviously setting up his traps over on the A site. Gives the Sage the reprieve. So the defensive team certainly making adjustments. The question is, will it pay off as they all stack themselves out? Look at that. That's ripe for a quick paranoia and peek, that one. But it is going to be the Owl drone coming through. That gives the smallest bit of information away. And as I say, the operator is in the right place this time, but he's got to land that opening shot.
Let's see what they do.
I think they're reading into this. I think
the Spike's not committing.
Yeah, they're reading into this and saying, this is a stacked site. Let's back away. Let's switch.
So far, so good. I like this. I like that kind of consideration. I like them not rushing it. You're not 7-0, sorry, 6-0 up, and you're still keeping your options open. Okay, you're not overcommitting. And I like the way they left that Omen there. I hope that Omen can get some more attention. I'd like to maybe see a play here. And there it is, bit of utility, good stuff. You're going to see that being poured through to maybe get that Sova considering, oh, am I in the right place? And that's what's going to cause that rotation back. They're banking on this wall to keep them safe. I don't know if that's the right option, because look at that TP in towards you will get sent back, but by now they know what the plan is. This hit has to come through.
But the rotates are coming. There's going to be the Hunter's Fury. It catches 2 of them off. The res will come through, though. But is it going to get answered by weapons? Yes, it will. Gats managed to find Yuri the second he gets the res through, but Jomba's done the work. HYPERX now trying to get a quick push around. Will catch him off guard. Gets himself a quick triple on Fatinho. And now the spike will be planted, but they don't have control of Lamp. They don't have control of Tetris. And then you can see just the backstab comes in. It's an ace for HYPERX. And at last, Citron Shen deliver.
It was a while in the making and they get it done. That's what you needed. Now, I hate to be that person off the back of an ultimate. Now, it's great when it works, but you don't get that every round. So they've got to now bounce off the back of this. How can we replicate that with just, guns out gameplay? They have a couple more ults to depend on. You've got Omens up there, Cypher's up there, more information-esque ultimates, less damage-dealing ones. Obviously, Raze and Sova kind of embody those. They don't have them anymore. Honestly, shutting down Fit is probably a big win condition right now. That guy has been bounding through it. So for Citron, this is excellent news. If they close out the rest of this half, they're golden. But I'm a bit worried. I want to see it happen in a normal gun round. It looks like they've gone back to that double peek towards Shower, so they might get early info here and get those rotations in the right place.
It's a very big if. They have gone aggressive at Showers, which is not going to net them anything, so it's a long rotate for Gats if he wants to get over to the position. The Hunter's Fury already coming out. And don't forget, HYPERX's Hunter's Fury caught 2 off guard. That was kind of like the momentum gatherer, effectively, that helped them out. But this time, they are pushing through. There is a dark cover down, but I don't think it's going to stop them here. Race here just tucked away an elbow. He's got help. HYPERX is there as well with him, so the 2 tucked in the corner, tries to push him, but he's already been spotted, and that's not going to help him out. The showstopper comes through. That doesn't net himself anything either, and it looks like they've taken the site with ease.
There is still the Sage there, but Sage is going to be hard to find a bit of place for. Cypher's already checking on it, but Cypher goes down, so it's done well enough. The 1-for-1 trade isn't ideal because the spike can still get safely planted, but that's a big loss. That's some eyes being removed here, and suddenly this 2v2 is looking a little bit more deadly. Yuri, though, keeping safe hands on this scenario.
2v1. Gats with the operator makes it work, but now it's not ideal in a close range battle. Is he going to switch across to the classic? Has he got a weapon? It doesn't matter. He lands the shot on Yuri, who got himself the triple in the round, and it will be another last minute defuse. It costs them in economy, mind you, but they're going to be happy with the round.
rounds around at this point. You got to just keep going through it, right? It's you don't get to be fussy. The only problem is their money's a bit weak on 2 players. We might see a weird buy. I don't know what they
Gats
can
could
go
buy
for,
for him, right? I think Gats could buy for him.
Yeah,
Everything else should
drop.
be fine. Maybe Wallach's maybe a little weak on a weapon.
Yeah.
Maybe a half armor or something.
Yeah, it might be a little less than ideal. But, I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Honestly, I think Valorant hasn't been exploited as much as other games as to how to make something happen in a slightly less
ideal
scenario. You can do dirty work with the judge, with, lighter purchases potentially. We are just in a pause while the player rejoined. Don't worry, that'll get started right back up as soon as they're ready. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be still seen in the way to play the economy here. A couple of teams are certainly toying with it. I mean, we've seen how any Jet mains try to manipulate the economy and trying to ensure they always have a gun in some form, whether it be the ult, whether it be a judge, whether it be the op, ideally, of course. So kind of fun to watch people working out how they want to find a way through. But speaking of finding a way, Citron has got 2 rounds. The pause has been unpaused, but back underway. So let's see if the Vodafone Giants have an answer back now. They're going to be put through their paces.
Right here.
Well, the one round that really started things off was when they stacked over on the B site. This time, it looks like Gats is keeping that operator in action, and he could really do with an opening. I'm a little scared about the Sova arrow there. I guess it's like he's trying to put it as tight as he can on the corner to get the information, but I didn't actually see where he whiffed it there. It looked like he did. But Showers has been given up. You already saw the slow orb down there, so they're well aware that something's coming, but it meant that they didn't actually get the orb. I think she was looking to push out the Sage player to try and get the orb down there instead. But look at this. It's actually a triple stack in Showers. Oh, that's going straight towards them.
Okay, and that's actually contact. They don't normally get that, so that's a big telltale sign. They haven't had that pressure before, so this should be an instant goer. Now it looks like Vodafone Giants have switched back in towards what was working last time. Now they were holding quite deep, but this time they're taking the fights, ensuring they make sure they don't get that clean 5v5 post plant, and this time it's incredibly well held.
Yeah, that's more like it. Just losing the one player, that's going to help the economy. And for Vodafone Giants, their economy had been stacked since the start. This may be the first round that they're starting to stutter a little bit. It is. You can see Star Wraith is going to be short. It's going to be down to the Sheriff. Everybody else is golden. But if they lose another, I mean, it looks unthinkable when you think of the first 6 round unanswered. But now the defensive side, they found the ground. Gats once again got himself a double. And now look at his stats, 11, 6, and 0. He's starting to feel the confidence play in there. We're starting to see people starting to pop off. The ultis are working. Obviously, they have both got the resurrects available. But Omen, let's see whether he makes use of that from the shadows to switch from site to site as quick as he can.
Could be a big one. We'll see if he finds a play for it. I love what Sova's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Citron's really working that defensive-sided aggression, and they're getting info for it. And again, they still have to hold these pushes, but nice bit of time being bought by Sova, just putting down the slow, ensuring no quick hits are going to come through until those rotations are in place. And now you got Raze over there, you got Omen over there. Speaking of Omen, TP in towards right on the site.
Dark cover goes straight onto the bathrooms as well, so they can't push through just yet. That's going to actually bottleneck them all in bathrooms. This is really unusual. Just the one player over on the site with everybody else bottlenecked in Showers. And actually with Gats in heaven, this could work out well. I don't know whether the Sage player Revol there is ready and waiting for this, because he's the one that's likely to take the brunt of this situation. Now he's going to see it. There's the information. The recon bolt comes through. Gats misses the opening shot, but Revol doesn't. Picks around, gets the second through. Gats manages to get him down. The res will come through, but it doesn't matter. I just don't understand the bottleneck approach the Giants tried.
Look, I lose my mind every time I see someone running in towards an op, but what does give me a smile on my face was the fact the fit was about to pop off, but no, we're seeing ops in play, and they're looking pretty strong. So, how do you get around an op? Well, yeah, let's see what the problem is. There. For someone like the Vodafone Giants, they don't have many abilities to flash. Having someone like Raze on your roster, or potentially even Sage if you want to go to that point, whatever you fancy, you don't have that flash potential. Yes, you obviously do have Omen's ability to blind, but it's not the same on site hits. It's not as kind of, I don't say AoE, but you know what I mean. It's like that flasher area. So they're struggling to get past the ops. You're bringing it down to like a straight up one-to-one fight. So yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of that flash potential. Someone to keep those ops away from kind of being able to peek so readily. So I don't know, I'm a bit worried.
I'm getting treated in Cologne right now to the bus because they've come close. Oh, Jomba finds Gats. That's a big one. He's been causing them problems round after round. And the op down is a big old hit, and that's almost certainly going to signal this B hit. Donkey throws out the paranoid, tries to go for the peak instantly, but Wallax gets him down. That's going to help out the Hunter's Fury, though. Answers, doesn't manage to land on it, but Vitinho's paint shells did, as Wallax gets picked off, and they keep getting these warbangs through the smoke. And Raval, he's got Gats back on his feet. That's the op back up, and this is suddenly looking great for Citron Chien.
They've turned this one around on the dime. They've got hold of the economy for now, and, you know, it fits great, but 1 HP ain't much to play with. Any damage done would be a miracle here, and he looks like the sacrificial lamb to the slaughter, kind of trotting in of his own accord at this point. Rotations are in. 2 players already on A to hinder them. I don't know if they're even going to get the spike down here. This should be everything towards the info that they need. Definitely know what's happening now. Spike. You don't whiff those. There we go. It's all good. No harm, no foul. We're good. We're good. I was a little scared, a little worried.
And what was looking like it could have been an absolute stomp is suddenly a very close game. 5 rounds on the defense. Of course, we don't know what their attacks are going to be like yet, but I think the economy for the Vodafone Giants is pretty screwed. Okay, they got enough. Just looking at the Marshall and the previous round, I assume they were pretty low, but no, they can fall by into this one. They may be low on util, though, I think, coming into this, so that may be a problem, but we're seeing aggressive stance coming out. Look at this. Gats wants to go for that big aggressive peek in bathrooms. He may net himself a Sova over that way. At the moment, the spike's looking like a B, so it will be a bit of a default setup. And there's going to be an aggression down long as well by the looks of it. So defensive side feeling it now.
They're getting into the groove of it, and the only one slim benefit is that currently the vast majority of the attacking side are heading towards B rather than A, where that op is currently very present. Oh, this long aggression between these 2 players in the smoke. Oh no, they misread this. Somehow they're still alive. I don't know how they both got away with their lives there.
Both dark covered each other. I think both paranoid each other as well. Just to get the hell out of there. And now IDEX is trying to get a peek around the side. He gets a 1-for-1, but more importantly, it was the Sage down. So we'll take that, a Sage for a Sova. And now Vitinho, he's been the thorn in the side of the Lemon Dog. Just the one. It used to be Lemon Dogs back in the day, which was a Swedish organization from the Inferno Online LAN center, right? I think it was many moons ago. Yep. This is just the one dog, though. There's not 2 of them. Jomba, that's a shock dart taking Gats down. That's the operator picked off by a shock dart. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't see where. Doesn't matter. It's a set execute. Dark cover goes down. Paint shells in. Showstoppers ready and waiting, but it's going to be ticking the timer as they still yet to get themselves the plant in. Plant goes down. He does manage to catch himself one. That was Reese going down. Shrouded step into the top corner from Donkey. Gets himself in position, but Jomba Revel just backs straight into him. Looks into elbow. Sees himself the last. And it will be a 7-5 half. The Giants finally ending off with a win.
Okay, honestly, great game between these 2. And this is the thing, though, it's hard to tell if that's going to continue into the second half, if they're both as equally talented on the other side of things. Right. You know, I think you've seen a little bit more of Citron Chien than I have. I just realized it's Lemon Dog. And
that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying, Lemon Dog.
Yeah. It took me a second. I was like, oh. Makes sense. Look, I'm a little slow today.
It's the first game of the day, Lauren. It's all right.
Yeah, it's I'll warm up into it. But no, I'm really excited to see if they both can kind of keep this level of play going forward. 5-7.5 is completely viable. Let's say you win pistol. Let's say if you're Citron Chien and you win pistol, you're 2 rounds up and you're right at the door, right? So I'd say the pistol's actually a big moment here for these guys now on the attacking side. This is a bit of a must-have, I'd say, if they really want to get this game back looking good for them.
Okay.
I do worry. It's a 4 stack on the A side at the moment. The default, the Shower's peak. Is he going to get surprised by the raise up close? Doesn't look like it. He's going to stay, keep himself being boosted up there, Vitinho. So with Vitinho over there, that puts a little bit of pressure on the Cypher. Of course, Cypher's, he's using that camera furiously on B side to keep an eye on both window and long, but not finding anything at the moment. Now the spike's coming this way. Still nobody rotating from the A side. So it's going to be a full retake if they can get past the deadly man, Star Wraith, that is holding sight.
No pressure. Here comes the call for rotations. It's how long can they stay alive? That's the big question here. How much time can they buy? How much damage can they do? Nothing. It's going to be a full retake here. So Spike's going to be down, and they're all going to retake from pretty much those 2 choke points. No one wrapping around the back. No one going to be trying to utilize, through hookah or B long. So this is going to be a brutal retake. You've got to hope they've got utility aplenty to pull this one off.
It worries me that they didn't deal with elbow. They just simply walled it off, and that's left them just to absolutely pundle through. Okay, there they go. Wall down.
Is he holding?
The defuse. They can just stick it. They put the cyber cage down. They can't see it. He's just sticking the defuse. Oh my word. What a disastrous thing. I don't know what the planning was, right? I got to assume they just assumed there was more in elbow. They walled off elbow. They didn't deal with elbow. So then when the 4 rotators push through, they're having to deal with this guy to the left of them first. And then by that point, well, they're completely swamped. They have been absolutely stormed upon. And the cheeky wall from Yuri to just say, nope. You've only got pistols. You're not breaking through this wall. And they just get the defuse. Great round.
Really nicely done. I love that use of the wall, keeping that utility late game. And then obviously the teammates backing them up, right? Sticking that defuse, 2 teammates just watching for that peek. They knew where it had come from. Nicely done. Now, again, a little bit of a second bite of the cherry, and I credit it on the other side. I like it on this side. A bit of an aggression look. Hello? How did Fit just get mowed down by that? Excuse me? But I was going to say that the aggression on the defensive side is great, but by now they kind of had a weird exchange on the site, so this is more viable than it should have been.
I was looking at it because we were in third person. I assumed it was his teammate, and I was just like, wait, what? What just happened? But either way, they got the spike planted down, so money is still going to be fine for the next round, but what's coming from behind them? Don Q just managed to gun him down with the ghost. Was trying to hold it off. Can't quite get the second. Didn't have the power, though, unfortunately, from the ghost. And Yuri will get himself the defuse through. We'll just hand off and get the Hunter's Fury. So they're favoring the Hunter's Fury over his ult. Let's have a look. I can't see what stacks they're at the moment. Where is he? He's on 3. So I'm going to assume the Hunter's Fury is also stacked at 3 or 4 by now. Interesting. Favoring the Hunter's Fury over res rate surprises me.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I'm a little surprised at that too, but maybe they just prefer it. I'm still getting used to team preference, like what people prefer to have, what they kind of suit as their strong point. I've seen a couple of teams closing out games real quick, 13-2s apparently for some teams coming in. So we clearly picked quite a close affair here out of those early matches. I actually really want to see, who makes it out of those brackets. Because some of those starting games, they're going to be pretty brutal. So big purchase coming out for the attacking squad here. Ops already out in play. Same for the defensive side.
Holding and waiting. Fitinho on the operator now was definitely their best player on the attack. And with a 9-5 now lead, they're going to go pressure and aggressive on IDEX. He was left alone, and it was a 3-man aggressive peak. Of course, that opens up the opportunity. That gives them information. Okay, there's 3 over on B site. Make that attack on A site work. They've got to go for it. The recon bots give them all the information they needed. The defensive side know exactly what is going on here. And Jomba just sits passively. This is perfect. Sits and waits. Okay, you can have the site. You can get your plan down. The rest of my team is here now. We're going for the retake.
That was a while to get the spike down. I don't know how much time there's been for rotations. That wall's barely standing. I don't know how much util they've got left, but you're going to see if Vodafone Giants can retake this cleanly. They're going to be under pressure for this one because these players are geared up. They've got the full guns. They've got the Phantoms out. They've got the Ops out. It ain't going to be easy against Bulldogs. So for now, no success as of yet. The utility's still there as well, slowing them down. This is not an easy retake by any means. Look at this. Time and time and time being bought. That's perfect, though. A quick couple of kills in succession. You had Fit watching over them like a hawk, and suddenly the defuse is looking so easy.
Don Q's been impressing me in the Omen as well. Up close, his close quarter combat is pretty good. Just say you can check out the brackets, by the way, guys. There is a couple of results starting to come through. Of course, this is the round of 128. Plenty of matches out there to keep your eye on. I know a lot of you want us to follow the likes of BBL, but guys, it was a 13-2 stomp over to Veek's Mishmash. It was not a pretty one. That was actually kind of my backup option, so I'm kind of glad I didn't go to it now. I'm glad we stuck to this one, but I want to see a bit of a comeback here. Citron Chien yet to get themselves grooving and a moving. It took them a long time on the defensive side. This time it's going to be a Marshall stack, Sheriff stack, as they try and pump onto B site, but I'm not convinced this one's going to pay off.
I just realized David P has been officially announced joining G2.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's
mandatory.gg.
a long time coming, that one. A long time coming.
You know, they put him through his paces. It's not quite like the Cloud9, like, horror boot camp they put these players through, but they kept David P guessing. But back into this game, we'll catch up with all the happenings, and of course, you guys can check it out over on mandatory.gg.
Oh, they're finally through teleport.
They're trying it. They're giving it a run. It's only pistols, but pistols do work in this game. I'm not going to undersell them. They can do some real damage, but let's see if they get much out of it. Spike plant, couple of kills is what you need, and they ain't getting much of it.
Oh no, Don Q with a side swipe. And yeah, the problem is with pistols, right? You know, when you run into that cyber cage, it kind of tells everyone where you are, and you just get mowed down. So yeah, the eco bash effectively that just happened didn't pay off, and still, unfortunately, no rounds for Citron Chien on the attack so far. Just the 5 on the defensive side worked out well for them, but they've yet to get going here. But now they've got the weapons back in their hands. Gats, once again, he needs to get that open. He needs to get the peaks. Their default players have not been netting them anything. If anything, I would say from the Giants, it's been a really nice passive defensive hold. There's been great discipline. Nobody over peeking. We may see a peek right here. Yuri's going for it. Will go looking towards the Sage player, but just the timing backs away.
I'm a little worried for Citron Chien. They've the scoreline's got to that point where it gets scary. It goes beyond just how you play in those rounds. It's that mental fatigue that comes with it too. However, looking at this, so the attacking team has gotten freebies towards long. They double stack towards window, aka hookah. So there's a chance this could work. If they get the pinch right on the attacking side, they could definitely do well towards B, but that 3-play stack is going to be very tricky to break.
They've kind of gone from the lemon dog to the lame dog right now. It's not really working out for them on the attack. They have no teeth. And at the moment, they're looking to trade places. Spike given across to the Sage. That's an opening. That may draw the rotations. That's what they're looking for. You can see that at the moment the Spike play is looking to be an A site. They're not getting drawn away from it, so it still leaves a 3-man stack on the site. Jomba has been picked off, so that's the Sova taken down. Fitinho just goes a little bit more passive. Satchel's over the top into the standard defuse position, and IDEX takes him down when he wasn't looking.
There we go. Clean. Where's that team been? Where have they been the whole game?
They just needed a bit of abuse to kick up the arse, and then they pick up the round. It seems to work.
It's a bit of breathing room for sure. Again, it's a good game. I just worry that when you're on 11 rounds, you know, one mistake, one misplay, and suddenly they're on match point. It's best of ones, so you got to be able to deliver real quick. When you got someone like Fit who's popping off too, that's another like element that's really hard to overcome. So this has to be pretty clinical from these guys, and maybe they got a bit of that. Maybe got a bit of that left in the tank. They used a couple of the ults, but they still have a good few left, 3 to be precise, and we see defensive-sided aggression. I think they're just going to post up Jonba in a bit more of an offensive position. I'd like them once, you know, whenever he feels comfortable to maybe either look for more info or back away. One of the two. Angle does favor the Omen. Further back you are, I can't be asked to explain it. It favors you, essentially, if you're on the same angle. Fit still with the op, though, looking over this, so it's still not an easy side take. It's 2 to either side on the defensive side here.
Peeker's advantage? What?
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist in this game. Oh, Fit is absolutely popping off. The Gats goes down. That's the operator versus operator play, and it has been, in fairness, Fitinho that has been dominating so far. Showstopper also built up now, so if there is going to be this A play, well, the Showstopper's going to be going straight onto the site. Revol gets Gats back up. That's the operator back in play. There is still a chance. Do not write them off just yet in this 4v5 setup. Both Showstoppers. The little boom bot bounces around, tries to find its home. I like it. I like it. Look how passive the Omen was being, and he's now gone back into lamps just at the right time to push out. He's gone aggressive. He's going to catch Gats off guard. No, he actually went through the teleport Donkey and caught them both in the back.
Well, I guess the ultimate does the work, but by now, look how individual Gats has to go. This has got to be a big individual play, and that Sage could be the downfall of it all. Nice way to negate the slow on the floor, but by now it's still down to a couple of seconds. They could push this if they felt they could get the defuse. You already have Fit looking towards the window room. Gats gets the spike down, and now a 2v2. Lax on the peak. Why would you do that? Cats, don't walk across like this, and now it's all in the hands of the Cypher. In a 1v2, they've got to play it so cool, calm, and collected. Well, Alex, I don't know if he's got this one, but he's got to give it a damn good try.
He's gone for the res. He's going to look for it. Finds another. Oh, so close. Star Wraith, in the end, does close it out. And good job that he got resurrected, because it was Star Wraith that got put back on his feet, and he's the man that closes the game out and takes it to match point. And that is going to be once again the operator for Fit, and it is buy what you can, unfortunately for Citron Chien.
Yeah, this is the rough times that we talk about. It's when it all comes down to this. Yes, they can still get a good buy-in. They're not broken, but 6 rounds on the trot they'd have to do just to pull it to OT. So it's a brutal way back in. Wow, Alex, what a good attempt, though. You know what I mean? Forcing the res out like that. If it wasn't 12 rounds against them, I'd give more credit to that. But it is what it is. It was an initial 3-man stack towards B long, but they've kind of peeled away a little bit. They were maybe using it just to set up a little bit of utility, play in that Sage and Sova over there. The attacking squad somewhat defaulting throughout. They haven't really shown a massive lean, and banking on Fit to hold down that kind of A mid or A short push there with that op.
I actually thought it was an eco res as well. I thought they were doing it to just make sure they got decent weapons, but it ended up being a vital res in the previous round. But as you say, you can see Fitinho holding the angle, and that's the spike carrier as well that's sat ready and waiting, and he's got the ult if he were to try and go from the shadows over to the backside. I just wonder if that's what he's maybe looking to do, to try and get a peek, but you don't want to be doing that with a spike. That's like your standard pug game mistake. Everyone's like, why did you just take the spike into the back of spawn? What are you thinking? Okay, he will trade it off. There we go. Trades it off to the Sage. Now we may see Reese going for from the shadows into the back. It's going to be dark cover. No, it's just going to be a default play. Even though he's got his ulti available, and actually they're going aggressive on the side there. Fitinho catches Revel off guard. He does go to the back, so he gets himself into heaven, and now he's going to catch out. So he tries to catch off the guard. It does take Star Wraith down, so the rotation is stopped. And
Where's that Omen? Omen's still there.
Yeah.
You have Donkey still on top of the truck, and then Fit was just playing through lamps. They never cleared the site properly, and now it's just down to one player in a 1v2, no time left, and Fit puts them out of their misery in the end, but a great performance from a couple of players. Citron Chien, unfortunate scenarios every now and then. They made a couple of good runs, but overall, I've got to say it, the Giants looked pretty well-rounded.
I mean, some decent play overall. Like I say, Don Q's little play there, sitting passive in the corner, Shrouded steps onto the top. Thank you very much. Wipe you out as you try and get the plant down. It's so crucial to clear out lamps and clear out the spots. And it's like so many times that set play. I mean, we talked about it at the start. That everybody knows that play. Everybody knows that default set strat. The wall goes down, the smokes go out, be it a brimstone, the smokes or omen smokes or whatever smokes you want to use. If you don't clear the point, if you don't get control of lamps and you don't have one over at showers, you cannot hold that point, because without one, the other will fall. So suddenly you get pushed from every angle, and that was kind of what was happening with Citron Chien's defense. They just couldn't hold it. And then their attack, didn't have the angles covered. I don't think they ever sent anyone through showers. Like every time they tried that, there was, because they kept losing one at the opening starts. Too Fit, who was just a bit too strong, unfortunately.
Yeah. Fit having a great individual performance certainly helped the matter, but the op on the other side as well, we had a good couple of moments, but again, if you look at the overall amount that was delivered, I think Fit was probably the standout to me there. I'm not surprised. I saw him early on in Valorant. He certainly looked good, so good to see him with his team here. First time I get to see the Giants playing as a collective too, so all good signs almost for them. I want to see how they look going forward. Best of ones, you don't know their map pool. These are all predetermined maps, so we have to keep that in mind too, and we have to check how the bracket's shaping up. A lot of these teams blasted through their first game. A lot of, 13-2s, 13-3s. I saw Mixwell's team made it through very early on, a couple of others. So we'll check into that, I'm pretty sure, any second now and see how it's looking. But yeah, I think for a first game, honestly, that was pretty competitive.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking that way at the start in the first half. I mean, we were a little worried at 6-0. They'd managed to pull it back to the 7-5 first half, but unfortunately, I don't think they picked up an attacking round, did they? No, I don't think they did. I think maybe got the one. Don't think they did, actually. Was it 12-5? It was 12-5, right? So I don't think they got a single attacking round. Yeah, it's too early. It's too early. And it's too hot. It's too hot. What is going on with Europe? We're going to go to a break. And when we come back, we'll see how the brackets shake up as we move to the round of 64.